Welcome to a special season of Perusing's Appraisers on Purpose podcast. This season, our podcast is showcasing past and current appraisers who have used their valuation knowledge and skills to invest and build wealth. How did they do it? What have they learned along the way? What can we learn from them so you can be wealthy, wise, and financially free? Your host is real estate investor, entrepreneur, and appraiser Michael Hobbs.
Hello, friends. Welcome to another exciting, engaging, and informative episode of Perusing's Appraisers on Purpose podcast. I'm your host, Michael Hobbs, and look, I'm excited to continue to have these conversations. I don't know about you, but it's always so much learning, so much insight, and such a growing awareness and perspective because of the generosity of our peers. And today will be no different. Kelly, I appreciate you joining us. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me, Michael.
Hey, you're welcome. You're welcome. And friends, you be generous too. It's not just us. It can be you too. Make sure to subscribe, of course, but more importantly, like this episode. You're going to like it, but go ahead. You can like it in advance. I'm just foreshadowing what's coming to you. And when you do that, that is also your generous effort that sends it out to more and more people so we continue to positively impact the profession. Hey, well, Kelly, we're awful curious. We want to know, were you born this way or how did you get into the appraisal and valuation profession?
All right. Bio in a nutshell, Oregon dude, undergrad, Oregon State, military.
Oh.
After I got out of the military, I did a couple of contracts in Saudi Arabia, and I had one term to finish for my master's, read an article in the Wall Street Journal about, it was back in the savings and loan crisis.
Yeah.
I know I'm dating myself, but the narrative was there's a need for good appraisers. And I commingled that thought with what my earthly objective always has been, and that's to be really good investor.
Oh, wow. That's wow. I've never heard someone say it that way. Your earthly objective is to be a successful investor. Fascinating. At what age did you come across that sense of knowing?
Oh, I think I bought my first property when I was in Saudi Arabia. I bought it back in 87.
Wow.
And I just kind of got a warm, fuzzy feeling after that saying, this is, whatever I have to do to take to get there, that's where I want to wind up.
That's amazing. So to help people get a sense of this, because I know sometimes in our profession, people are not the touchy-feely type. So when you got the warm, fuzzy feeling, was that kind of like the warm, fuzzy feeling when you have some bourbon? Or is that like the warm, fuzzy feeling when you have that first sense of falling in love? Or is that like the warm, fuzzy feeling when you're like, I feel something in my gut? Like, well, where was it for you? How was that?
Have you ever thought about just interviewing yourself?
No, sir. No, sir. It's not about me.
The answer to your question, I guess a combination of, you mentioned 4 of them, 4 different scenarios, and it just fits. And appraising does not fit. Appraising is a tool to get me to be the best investor that I can be. And as I related to you before, and I'm not ashamed, I went through the MAI curriculum.
Yeah.
I got through all of it. I got through all of it. I think I had 2 more classes, including the dissertation, report writing, Cap A, Cap B, all that. And was just fundamentally unhappy and realized that I wanted to be an investor, not an appraiser.
Wow. Okay. So here you are. You served our country. Thank you for doing that. You come back, you read an article, you decide to get into the profession. So this is what, at this point, the early 90s?
Exactly, 1990.
1990. And were you pursuing that in Oregon or a different part of the country?
I finished my master's down in Texas.
Oh,
so
wow.
That's where I was. That was my last duty station was Killeen, Texas.
Okay. Oh, got it. Yeah, fantastic. So you finished it up there. And then how many years did you spend doing appraisal in Texas?
None. I came back to Oregon.
Really?
I had 1 term to finish down there, and then I came back home to Oregon.
Got it. So you come back to Oregon in one of the major cities or in one of the outlying areas?
Portland.
I figured Portland. That was what I was going to ask, but always better to ask than assume. So here you get back into Portland. How'd you get your foot in the door?
Asked around. I interviewed. It was a real dilemma. I could have gone with Nike, or they're stationed in Beaverton.
Yep, Beaverton.
Or I was referred to an MAI, and I decided that that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to, it was just a conflict. It was just a conflict for the first 3 years until I decided I didn't want to get my MAI designation, but I wound up keeping the certification all these years.
Well, good for you on that one. That's something else. So you decide to go with an MAI instead of going with Nike. And what type of exposure did you get when you first came into the profession back in the 90s?
Everything you'd expect for a well-rounded MAI.
Oh, okay.
No single families. He made it a point to keep me away from that.
Okay.
Everything from subdivision to a meat packing plant to apartments to office, you name it.
Yeah, that's phenomenal. And was it just the two of you, or are you part of a larger office?
Counting the secretary, there were 4 of us. There was an SRA. He was very well-rounded, the guy that taught me.
Mm-hmm.
Not a good boss, but a darn good practitioner.
Exactly. And so what was the style of your learning, or how did your training occur back in the 90s? I mean, things are a little different now with technology. It wasn't the same thing back then.
Well, you know the curriculum better than I do. Everything geared around the curriculum and reading his reports.
Oh, okay. Got it. So it was an immersion approach, such as like, here, read this.
Yeah, you could say that, but when we finally wound up splitting, it was like, I'm more task condition standards type of guy, and it just did not work out well.
Yeah.
Personality conflict.
I get it. How long did you stay with that individual, that firm?
3.5 years.
Okay. And then what happened after that?
I turned into a hybrid. I started doing residential appraising. I found somebody to teach me.
Okay.
And then I turned into an investor.
Oh, fascinating. So you leave, and did you join another firm that was also doing residential, or you're just kind of on your own, and then you found someone to kind of guide you and mentor you?
That's exactly the scenario.
Wow. Okay.
I just found somebody that I'd already known, and I said, look, I'll give you 50% of my earnings. Show me how to do a house.
Yeah. Fascinating. So you learn how to do a house. You're learning how to do that in the Portland market. And somewhere along that time, what I hear you say as well is that you decided to invest again, because you'd already bought a home, your first property back in 87. Now we're talking what, mid 90s?
Yeah. 94.
94. What was that first property?
5262 Northeast 31st Avenue.
Oh, love it. Pulling out the address too. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. What kind of property was it?
Oh, yeah, a quasi-eidetic memory. It functions most of the time. It was just a single family piece of shit. Or can I say piece of shit on here?
You can say piece of shit. It's okay.
All right.
Yeah, that's all right.
And I did it with a buddy of mine, a partying buddy of mine, and he had the skill set, and I had the numbers, and it was pretty good for a while.
Oh, that's fantastic. So you and him decide to go buy this POS, as we refer to it, and did you do anything with it or just rent it out?
No, we just flipped it, fixed it, and flipped it.
So what'd you buy it for? What potential did you see, and then how were you rewarded?
We bought it for right around 42. We sold it for 78, and we wound up making gross about 15.
Holy smokes. Nice.
And I think that was net of realtor costs. We wound up splitting about 7,500.
Ooh, that's fantastic. Congratulations on that kind of opportunity. How many months were you into that first house investment?
3 months.
Ooh, that's good income. Only took you a short period of time to turn that around. And then did you locate that property because you had been learning residential appraising or had access to the MLS, or did your partner find it? How did all that happen?
My partner found it. Yeah, my partner found it.
Got it. Got it. And then was this one of your appraisal clients or your buddy? You mentioned somebody you were spending some social time with. How'd all that come together?
Yeah, he was a party buddy, and he had a good background in residential fix-up.
Oh, okay.
It was just, good synergy.
Oh, that's nice. That is great to hear that. That's great to hear that. So you do this first property, and did that rekindle the warm fuzzy from back in 87?
No, not really.
Okay.
It's like that was the first time that I'd really thought about the possibility of scaling. It
really?
was probably the next property or thereabouts. We branched out and made it a point to network with realtors, but it dawned on me that to grow and scale the business, you need to invoke the concept of private money.
Oh, okay. Say a little more about that. We have not had many people talk about the concept of private money.
Oh, I love the concept of, you understand syndication, raising private money and things like that. And I mean, that's part of my focus today.
Oh, got it.
Yeah. I mean, it's just when you're working with a finite amount of funds, it's like you can only grow so fast.
Yeah.
And back then there just wasn't any money. And the one guy that he wanted 21%, and he wanted us to keep the money and didn't want us to give it back. It was really onerous, but I just became enamored with the concept of it, and I've never really let it die, but I've never really exploited it.
Fascinating. So here you are, your first project runs about 3 months. How long was it before your next investment opportunity came around?
Probably just about as soon as we sold the first one.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, to this day, I keep a spreadsheet of my projects, and it was like a parabolic curve upwards until 2008.
Well, that was the case for a lot of people, Kelly.
Does that sound familiar, Michael?
Oh, it sounds awfully familiar. Wow. So you go, you and the partner, you get out of your first property, and then you go buy another single family home, or do you buy something different second time?
Oh, we ran into a bunch of stuff. We ran into a little development deal, 2 houses, 3 lots. We ran into a duplex. We ran into some single families.
Oh, wow.
And then about that time, for whatever, we just got tired of each other and split the sheets.
How many properties or projects did you all do before you called it quits?
Oh, probably about 10. And that included building 4 row houses.
Wow.
Yeah, before the meltdown. Nice portfolio.
Well, that is, that 10 puts you in distinguished company when you look at the United States and, 330, 340 million people, and about 2/3 of people own a home that are, when you look at households as opposed to total population. And then you look at the fact that less than 5% even own a second home, and way less than 1%, own more than 2 properties. And, you were at that point already at 10. You were in very rare air, whether you realized it or not.
Yeah, but things started going haywire, and when they did, man, of course, you know what a tick is.
I do, but you want to explain it for everybody else?
It's a tenant in common. It's probably less formal than a joint venture. Yeah, it's just a consortium of people that are legally put together that go in on a project. And so I invested we did well on an apartment, a 25-unit apartment.
Nice.
Manufactured home park in Texas. And then the shit started to go sideways.
So taking a couple steps back, you went from a single family, and how many of the first 10 were residential in nature before you started to move into commercial?
100%.
Yeah. And then what prompted you when you moved from beyond residential?
One of my best friends is a broker.
Okay.
And I've worked with him. That was his specialty. And it was interesting to watch his mental evolution as a broker from units into manufactured home parks.
Mm.
And it was a distinct and different, it was his decision. And they're just more lucrative.
Yeah. Yeah. Share a little bit more about that. Most people have not been exposed to it. They definitely don't appraise them, much less invest in them. You want to share a little bit more of your perspective on that? Because that's really one of the benefits here of season 11 are those individuals who have been in and around appraisal and valuation, but also use that knowledge and that skill set in investing.
Which asset category did you want me to?
Well, you mentioned first about when you were referring to the parks. You're like, wow, that was that threw off a lot. So say a little more about that.
Yeah, it's how do I explain it? It's you own the dirt underneath. They have their own manufactured home on your lot. So it throws off cash better. The operating income statement is a lot flatter, and there aren't the heavy income and expenses, turnover rates that you have with apartments.
Yes.
We could go the rest of the hour talking about the differences between the two of them.
You don't have to go the rest of the hour, but take another minute or so. So, I mean, because these are some unique attributes to that particular asset.
Geez, I think I hit the main points. The fact that you own the underlying dirt, the tenant has their house that they own. The objective is to have few or no park-owned homes so that you're not involved in any of the maintenance issues.
Yep.
Basically, all you're doing is maintaining the underlying dirt itself. With an apartment, conversely, you're dealing with tenants and toilets.
Mm-hmm. You were dealing with tenants, toilets, termites. Oh, yeah, all that good stuff. Telephone calls that you don't necessarily want.
The operating expense ratios are just night and day.
Yeah, absolutely the case. So because of a broker, you get exposed to this asset.
Yes.
And then for those that are not aware of it, is the funding, is the purchase of that type of asset as easy as buying a single family home? Is it a little more complex? Is it significantly more complex?
Much more complex than buying a single family home. I mean, you're dealing with, your DSCRs and it's a commercial property. It's basically the same underwriting procedure as an apartment complex.
Exactly. You threw out an acronym that you and I know well, but other people might not be as familiar with it. You mentioned the DSCR. What is that, Kelly?
Move along. I'm not going into Cat B right now, Michael.
No, I don't want to. This is helpful for people. Part of the step for them is to understand that there's an opportunity out there for you to actually be an owner of a property, and you're not the sole path of recourse. So DSCR is a debt service coverage ratio. These type of loans are based on the asset and the asset performance, of which they'll probably still want a PG from you, a personal guarantee, but it's your opportunity to be able to get into commercial assets that are not just limited to, say, your credit score or your income. Because as you touched on, Kelly, there's such a bigger pool. You mentioned the private money opportunity earlier, such a bigger pool of possibility out there once you start to take the blinders off. And for some of you, this is a phenomenal conversation, and Kelly has so much more investing experience that you're going to get a sense of like, wow, I didn't know I could do that. And the answer is, we understand. And that's why this is such a fascinating season. So Kelly, you get an opportunity to invest in that kind of asset. So did you just keep accumulating assets, or how does this go for you?
No. I thought that the market, like most everybody else, I thought the market was going to just keep going on forever. And I ran into this asset category that I fell in love with the concept is called a shoebox condominium. And
most people do not know what this is. Would you please explain it?
all right. It's taking a property that has surplus land and it has an underlying set of improvements, and it's large enough where you can, based on the entitlement process, you can put additional units on the site. So what you wind up with is the original set of improvements plus the new set of improvements. And instead of going through the entitlement process, you just take it through the condominium process, which is a lot cheaper and a lot more expedient than going through the entitlement process of cutting up the site into individual lots.
Yeah. Wow. How did you even come across that asset type?
80% of all businesses fail within 5 years, according to the U.S. Census Bureau. With so many roles and responsibilities that must be managed and have nothing to do with appraisal reports, is it any surprise that it's hard to keep up, much less having a sense of peace, stability, and profitability that comes from growing your business? Given all of this, you might already be thinking about exiting your business one day. Don't miss the limited opportunity to work with Michael, a real estate expert and professional coach. He has worked with more than 300 owners and entrepreneurs to find their highest and best use by solving problems that reach their most important goals. To impress decades of learning in today's by working with Michael. Michael is famous in real estate and business coaching. With his help, you can accelerate your growth, increase your quality of life, and earn more money, all while ultimately doing less. Michael helps you not just grow your business, but also find new purpose in it and in your life. If you're ready to take control instead of being controlled, contact him on LinkedIn or email him at michaelh@paru.com.
I ran into this guy. He definitely did not turn out to be a friend, but I saw his business model. I understood it. And I said, I can do that. And it worked out really well until it didn't work out. And I mean, like everybody else, we were on the last project, we barely broke even. There were five condos plus the original house. And yeah, we managed to get out. No, I take that back. Until 2015, I was still paying on the construction loan.
Oh, goodness. That's something else. So your concept, and why is it referred to as a shoebox condominium as opposed to any other reference?
I do not know.
Oh, okay.
I guess I don't know.
Yeah, I don't either.
I just know that that's what it was.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. How did you go about finding these type of unique assets?
Appraisal background, understanding highest and best use, and most importantly, parlaying that into understanding the concept of value add.
Got it. And so is that an easy set of attributes to search for, or did you have to find other people to bring these to you? I mean, that's, as you describe it, in one sense, it's like, oh yeah, it's kind of interesting, but not an obvious thing to come across.
Well, it goes back to the underlying concept of private money. When you're dealing with a finite amount of funds, you got to be really, really careful. And I think the last 3 out of 4 properties that I bought all had the ability to split lots off of them in one way or another.
Got it.
And it was, taking a look at something and see if there's additional profit centers there.
Got it. That's phenomenal. So basically, for those that cringe when you get into appraisal terminology, it's that sense of excess and surplus land associated with an underlying asset.
Yeah.
And then I'm hearing you were identifying opportunities to monetize those relative to the existing zoning.
Yeah.
And
there's also the concept too. I told you before, I've got a set of limiting beliefs that has held me back forever. And I mean, this is kind of a frank conversation.
Yeah.
That a lot of people have got underlying limiting beliefs regarding wealth.
Got it.
And just as importantly as accumulating wealth, it's keeping it. Because in the tech bubble, I made a lot of money. I think I was up 5.5 mil.
Yeah.
Lost it, gave it back. Before the mortgage meltdown, I was pretty close back into 7 figures net worth and gave it back. And it just dawned on me that I need to understand where I'm coming from and why I keep giving it back. And that's part of my ongoing self-therapy.
I see. Wow. What have you learned through your time of inquiry?
That I do have limiting beliefs, and there are techniques. I don't know if you could call it, I don't know if the correct term would be expunge.
Okay.
Overwrite.
Yeah.
Correct. But my philosophy has had to change in the last few years. I mean, I'm an older guy, and it just behooves me to get with the program and change as I need it, because the next time I make it, I'm not going to give it back.
I'm glad to hear that. What have been your one or two biggest learnings in this process that's going to have you be successful this next time around where it wasn't there before?
Well, I think the first and foremost is identifying the limiting beliefs and trying to overwrite them. Like, I don't know what the simile or analogy would be, like writing over a CD-ROM. We have the capability to do it. Dr. Bruce Lipton wrote The Biology of Belief. And it's like, we can change fundamentally who we are. And I believe it. I don't know if that really answers your question, but it was a good stab at it.
No, I like it. I mean, there is no right answer. There's just your answer. You know, that's the key to it all. And that's what's fascinating about it. And
Let's steer this conversation into something that's relevant, and I think relevant to your client base or your patron base. What are your thoughts on AI in both the appraising and investing world?
I appreciate you asking, and I'd be happy to answer. Right before we pivot to that, one of the things that we're really focusing on in season 11 is that linkage between the knowledge that people gain from an appraisal standpoint and how that allows them to differentiate as an investor. And I think AI is like that next level of conversation. And we definitely have time and space for that. I'm curious, and what would really serve people is a sense of, I think, to use the words you used that were, appraisal is a tool. Could you say a little bit more about that? Because not everybody relates to appraisal as a tool. And clearly you're quite a technician, you know, given what you've been able to build at different times in your career.
I think my modesty is underwhelming. But that being said, yeah, appraisers are a unique subspecies of the human race. It's like you and I talked about it, and I will smooth it down a bit, but it's like appraisers learn to interpret a deal and all of the various facets that are incorporated within it. But they're not in the arena swinging the sword like an investor. It's like they have no skin in the game except for from the context of a business point of view.
It's a great analogy about the swinging the sword piece. What do you feel was the difference that had you be swinging the sword versus so many peers that don't?
I'm aggressive by nature. I'm an old infantry officer, and yeah, that's who I am.
Yeah. And then how has that supported you successfully by moving into investing in addition to appraising?
It's frustrating because, as I told you, my set of limiting beliefs has held me back. And now that I am incorporating that into my knowledge as an appraiser, as an investor, I think it's the entire package. I think each one of your patrons has got to examine themselves and say, is investing right for me? I think a lot of the folks that follow you are appraisers, and they don't really get into the investing side, which is fine. That's cool. It's a great business.
Yeah.
But it is subject to the whims and the capriciousness of the real estate markets themselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely the case. Of all the years you've been investing, and you mentioned the one you stumbled across and you had some great success with, which type of asset or which particular asset have you been most fond of continuing to invest in, or would recommend other people to invest in?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, just about any and everything. If it's a deal, it's a deal.
Mm-hmm.
If you're asking a specific asset category, I'm always going to have a fondness for land.
Okay.
Especially development land.
Development. Okay.
There's a way to do it, and we're segueing into the aspect of AI
Mm-hmm.
and GIS and things like that. But
Yep.
yeah, it's like the inventory of houses. There's a dearth of housing, and the corollary to that is there's also a lack of land that's being developed.
Yeah.
You got to have one to have the other. And I just have a propensity, or I understand it. I like it.
Mm-hmm. I think that makes. I think that's a thoughtful response. And you mentioned specifically development land, which is a unique segment of all the land out there. What are the one or two characteristics for why you like the development land of all the potential land out there that could be investment?
Well, first of all, you have to take a look at what qualifies it as development land. And I don't want to be long-winded, but it's got to be in the urban growth boundary. It's got to be proximate to services, and support services. Got to have that. What was the second part of your question?
What were the one or two characteristics that have you focus on development land of all the categories of land that are out there?
I think it's the opportunity that most people, they don't see it, is you have an opportunity to identify it, take it through. Most people think of development land, and they think of, you have to buy it, you have to entitle it, you got to go through the plat process, and then you got to build it out.
Yes.
I say identify it, make sure that it's buildable, like the preliminary plat approval, which is relatively cheap in municipalities.
Yes.
And then turn it over to a builder, something like that. So sell the sizzle and not the steak.
Yeah. Yeah, I appreciate you sharing that, because it definitely defines some boundaries around a sense of knowing what you know and not getting too far outside of that, where the risk profile changes significantly.
Yeah. I couldn't put it any better myself.
Yeah, that's a big one. And then you move into it. Your interest in that type of development land, is it only in and around the Portland area, or are you a fan of investing in land for development Pacific Northwest or across the country? Do you have any geographic constraints or preferences? Either way.
None.
Yeah.
It's a virtual world nowadays.
So say a little more about that, because I think that's a nice segue into the question you asked about AI and then all the technology that's come online that used to be stuck in people's heads solely or in books.
Put that in the form of a question.
Sure. Why are you a fan of the technology we have today from the standpoint of both valuing property as well as investing?
Well, I think if you incorporate it correctly, it's a no. I'm not going to say it's a no-brainer. It is a brainer.
Mm-hmm.
You've got, I think I mentioned before, the characteristics of development land. Number one, it's got to be inside the urban growth boundary.
Mm-hmm.
You got to be a big, long holder, like one of the premier builders or something like that, before you can take the time to either rezone it or wait till the urban growth boundary extends.
Yes.
Now the concept of GIS, using GIS programmers, programming those constraints in. Well, I jumped ahead a step. It's got to be contiguous to the necessary services: electricity, water, sewer, and now internet is that's a necessity.
Yep.
Like if you have 2 out of the 4, no. If you have 3 out of the 4, question mark. If you have 4 out of the 4, yeah. I mean, look at it.
Wow.
Did I address that okay for you?
Yeah. I think it is amazing for people like you and I that we know what we do know and we know what we don't know. We've been exposed to things, and using your reference of wielding a sword, it at times can be difficult to go back to what was it like when I didn't know what I know. Like there was so much, and there still is so much knowledge out there, way beyond my own understanding and yours as well. But to go back to when I knew significantly less, and I still was looking at it, kind of almost opening the door for the first time, like what was I looking at, or what? Like, okay, I see a field of corn. What else are you seeing? And then you share what you shared. It's like, oh my goodness, I didn't see that until you shared. So I appreciate you providing that answer.
Well, you're asking when my frame of reference changed. My frame of reference changed when I sponged in everything that I could from the MAI that taught me. I mean, he just taught the word paradigm he just taught me a whole new way of looking at things.
Yeah, absolutely get that. Absolutely get that. And so when, like from your standpoint, have you continued with appraisal from the time in the 90s till present, or did that kind of slip away as you got more heavily into your love of investing from the 90s going into the 2000s?
I have hung on to my shingle all these years, and right now it provides a modicum of support.
Okay.
But like I told you before, I'm looking to align myself with just the right company. And I mean, we talked about it before we came on the air, but it's like between my assistant and myself, we've been looking for a year and a half, and I'll keep on looking, and it's got to be, the company has to meet four criteria. It's got to be nascent. They got to be new.
Yep.
They have to be competent. They have to be fun, which is the major criteria to me. I don't like working with butt heads. I've done that enough in my life. And then finally, the last characteristic they have to have integrity.
And taking that, say, core 4 that you're focused on, what industry would that opportunity be in? Because that could apply just about anywhere.
I'm focusing right now, and we have been focusing on wholesaling.
Oh, okay.
Single wholesaling. I mean, it's most wholesalers out there. If they get anything besides a single family, they're lost.
Got it.
And I'm saying, I'm ready. I can help you with anything. Land, apartments, plexes, whatever. And that's what I'm looking for.
Got it. No, I definitely appreciate that. To be able to share that as well so that other people can have a sense of both understanding and maybe even awareness, to the extent that, we have quite a broad base of listeners. Who knows, somebody out there might actually fill that set of characteristics.
You never know. It was like, you came to me out of nowhere, and I was thinking that was kind of synchronicity.
Yeah.
Right in there with the law of attraction that I'm practicing.
Good for you. Good for you. What, for those that don't know about the law of attraction, Kelly, what is it?
That's what were we talking about? DSCRs. It's like how far down the rabbit hole do you want to go?
You don't have to go very far. It's kind of like, when you get a cake, you just eat the frosting on top.
It's learning the. Did you ever read the book The Secret?
Yeah. Knew the people that produced it.
Okay. Assuming that most of your clientele are pretty well read, it's a takeoff and it's expounding on that. It's learning above and beyond what Rhonda Byrne had to write about, and learning how to manifest and the different things that need to be in place before it works, before the law. And it actually is a set of laws, things that need to be in place before it works.
Mm-hmm. Totally get that. Yeah, I appreciate you sharing that. It's a unique and valuable perspective. And so, given that you mentioned that, appraisal still provides you a modicum at this point, how have you spent your time since COVID as it relates to real estate and real estate investing?
Not much. Pucking around with land a little bit.
Okay.
I'm basically shy by nature.
Okay.
Until you get me in front of a crowd, and then I'm fairly gregarious.
All right.
But my lead up to that is I'm actually reaching out on social media now. I'm trying to do better.
Okay.
It's like, for example, how many followers do you have on LinkedIn?
Just under 30,000.
All right. If I have 25, I would be surprised.
Yeah.
And that's, I'm trying to grow up and be somebody like you.
Yeah. Totally get that. Yeah. Everybody follows somebody. That's how that goes.
True.
Absolutely. Absolutely connect with you on that piece of it. One of the things I appreciated you had shared a little earlier, going back to your reference that appraisal is a tool, I think that has been one of the foundations for season 11 is the recognition that having more than one tool in your toolbox typically makes you a better tradesperson, so to speak. How have you continued to develop your tools in the toolbox?
Well, great question, Michael. I hate it when people say that.
I just choose a smile.
All right. To that effect, I found something to give back. And I've created what I call a real estate intelligence suite.
Okay.
And it's comprised of a book I wrote, which is basically building blocks geared for newer investors, not seasoned investors, 2 courses, both entitled Real Estate Valuation Demystified. One is geared for newer realtors, one is geared for investors. And then the last portion of that is I've created a comprehensive real estate investing tool.
Yep.
And all of these, except for the book, I kind of go across the board. They're all geared towards single families, nothing remotely complex.
Yep.
So thank you for letting me plug that.
Of course. Actually, I think it's helpful because this is one of the beauties of the people in our profession is there's so many ways to be with, be around, to be influenced by people that have invested some amount of their effort, their energy, their time, if you will, for the valuation and appraisal profession. And, you've been through and are in multiple segments of it. So much so now that you've shared this real estate intelligence. How did that come about?
Man, I'd like to talk before we have to split. I would like to talk more about AI and that.
Okay, well let's pivot to AI. We have our bonus session coming up. We'll go into that in the next one. So talk about AI.
All right, right now.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay,
is that important to you? We're more flexible.
The answer to your first question was it was a genesis of frustration that happened after the mortgage meltdown. Started off with the book. My assistant kind of bugged me a little bit. The courses came about, and then the tool. It just kind of happened. As far as AI goes, I've had to write a chapter both in the courses and in the book because I think it would be hubris not to try and address it.
Got it.
Because it is going to be so impactful on so many levels with respect to real estate. from an accounting and managerial point of view,
Mm-hmm.
a real estate practitioner. Right now, I'm trying to. Right now, I was just jotting down some notes for this real estate, this wholesale company, and I'm trying to put together a formula that takes into account a house and investing in it, where it would calculate the MAO, and it'd have to calculate the ARV first. Before that, you'd have to learn how to pull the comps, and I dumped it on my assistant, and I just loved the heck out of him. And I said, by Monday, I want you to come up with something. I don't care if it's bad.
Okay.
But AI is just it is going to be so all encompassing. We don't have time to go down that rabbit hole.
Well, the good news is, Kelly, that's why we have our bonus session. And so that is a great segue in planting the seeds for what comes next. And so I just want to say thank you for your interest in making a difference for others, because you started out in appraisal. And I appreciate you coming on and sharing a little bit. You know, as you said, you're a rather introverted individual, but at least you opened up a little bit and shared about how, you know, from that first house that you invested in, that POS, as you referred to it, to getting into mobile home parks and syndication and other possibilities using private money and everything else. You know, it's that willingness and generosity to share is what makes this podcast valuable for our peers. So I just want to say thank you so much for that.
I appreciate you having me, Michael. I appreciate it a lot.
Wonderful. Well, friends, thanks for joining us for this episode of Perusing's Appraisers on Purpose podcast. And as you heard, the bonus session is going to have some deep dive with Kelly on 2 important topics. Have a fantastic day.
Thank you for listening to Perusing's Appraisers on Purpose. Your enjoyment, enthusiasm, and encouragement are contagious. What an honor to highlight the paths and achievements of our guests. Thank you for doing what only you can do, clicking subscribe, clicking like, and then sharing this with 2 peers. When you signal to Spotify, LinkedIn, and YouTube that appraisers are valuable, everyone's life and work are elevated. We'd love to hear from you. Post a comment and then message on LinkedIn. Again, thank you for your time listening in on Perusings. Go create the change that you seek.